When I created my transition fund, I simply wanted to know how much it would cost to buy back 3 months from my 9-to-5 job. If you're human and life has ever surprised you, you need a transition fund. Emergency funds help when life breaks down. But what about when life is just changing? A new job, perhaps a sabbatical, a breakup or a divorce, or maybe you might be getting a new baby. These moments aren't emergencies, but they cost money, and without a plan, they can break you anyway. What if you had a savings plan built for life transitions, not just survival, but strategy? That's where the transition fund comes in. Welcome to Living LyfStyled. I'm IVK, a nerd dressed like a mom with 15 years of experience in finance. I'm now using the same knowledge to build lifestyle and financial freedom without burnout, hustle, or waiting for someday. And I'm sharing the blueprint in real time. Today, I'm going deep on something I created out of necessity, the transition fund. If you've ever wished you could afford to pause, pivot, or just take a breath from the rat race, this might be the tool that changes everything for you. So, how did this idea come about? When I found out I was pregnant with our second child, I knew I wanted to take an extended time off. But when I did the financial math, the numbers didn't work out. I didn't want to go into debt just to live. And I knew I didn't want to face burnout while dragging myself to work just to cover the bills instead of taking the time that I needed to recover. In most countries, any time that you take away from your job will be unpaid, which places us in a tough spot because some life transitions cannot be avoided. Until now, were very difficult to fund. So the biggest question that I asked myself was, how much do I actually need to buy back my freedom? Buy my time from my 9-to-5 and still be able to sustain our lifestyle. To figure this out, I created the Transition Fund Calculator. This was my personal solution to a problem that many of us have faced at one point or another. I have made the Transition Fund Calculator publicly available for a limited time to the first 100 users for free. All I ask is that you give me honest feedback. Was the calculator easy to use? Did it help you get closer to your goal? And what transition are you planning for? Was there anything that was maybe confusing or missing? All of these feedback from you will really help me go a long way. Have you ever wanted to make a big life change but the money held you back? Drop a cash emoji in the comments down below if you've ever felt stuck in that way. Because you're not alone. There's actually quite a lot of us. So why should you trust me? I'm just a nerd dressed like a mom, but I do know my numbers. I've spent 15 years in the financial sector, 5 years in auditing at one of the big 4 firms, and 9 years in investment asset management within the insurance sector. This isn't just a personal idea. It's a financial strategy built on real expertise. Let's get to the heart of it. What is a life transition? A life transition is a period of significant change that shifts your day-to-day reality, emotionally, practically, or financially. It's not always dramatic or traumatic. Sometimes it's something you've planned for, and other times it's something that happens to you. But in either case, it creates a gap between how your life was and how it is now. How life transitions happen. Life transitions occur in 3 different ways. First, by choice. You choose to change direction in your life. Quitting a job, starting a business, or taking time off. Or you could even just be moving to a new country, or taking a sabbatical, or like me, extending your maternity leave. You could also choose to plan for your child's future transition when they transition into adult life. These transitions are empowering, but they still cost time and money. The second way is by circumstance, something that happens to you. Perhaps a layoff, a breakup or a divorce in your relationship, a health diagnosis that leaves you temporarily not able to earn income at the same level, or perhaps a family emergency. These transitions are often unplanned, and they can knock you off the path to building financial freedom fast. The third is by stage of life. You naturally grow into a season, like you're adulting and moving away from your financial protection provided by your parents. Or you're becoming a parent yourself. Or maybe you have some aging parents that need help and you are currently taking the time to take care of them. Or facing end of life where you need to take the lead in the role in taking care of them. You could also be going back to school or entering midlife. All of these are based on the stage of your life and the responsibilities that you are currently facing in that period. These transitions are predictable, but still need financial preparation to feel supported rather than stretched. How to spot a life transition. You will know that you are in a transition if there's a disruption to your routines, a change in your financial responsibilities, or a need to pause, pivot, and prepare. But why does this matter? Most people plan for big milestones like retirement or buying a home, but very few people plan for the in-between chapters of life. These in-between chapters shape our lives and make life so interesting. That's why life transitions matter and why we need better financial tools to navigate them. Not just to survive, but to move forward with clarity, peace, and choice. Now, what's a transition fund? Now that you understand what life transitions are, how they happen or how they occur, what is a transition fund? A transition fund isn't an emergency fund. It's not a vacation savings either, or a retirement account. No. It's a purpose-built fund that helps you move from one phase of life to another without wrecking your finances. It helps you create lifestyle and financial freedom. And on this video linked over here, I explain the difference between an emergency fund and a transition fund in detail. I have also placed the link down below. When you think about it, a transition fund is a temporary buffer for intentional change. You calculate it based on real costs, not some guesswork. When you create a transition fund, you have a goal in mind or an upcoming shift that you want to prepare for in your life. There's a timeline and your vision of freedom attached to it. When I created my transition fund, I simply wanted to know how much it would cost to buy back 3 months from my 9-to-5 job. This might leave you wondering how long of a period a transition fund should cover. Well, it depends on the transition that you're going through. A short transition is between 1 and 3 months. For example, you are between jobs and you just need that amount to cover that period. A medium transition would be between 4 to 6 or 8 months. This is if you need extra parental leave, you're moving abroad, taking care of your aging parents, or taking a sabbatical. A long transition fund would be between, say, maybe 6 to a period of about 2 years. You want a full career change, or you're starting a business, or you're going back to school to further your studies. Whichever kind of transition that you create, this should be suitable for what you are going through personally. What kind of transition are you preparing for or avoiding because of money? Comment down below with the length of time that you would need for that particular transition. You might wonder who this is for. I can name a few. Students becoming adults who need to take care of their first few independent expenses, creatives or freelancers who often find themselves between jobs and waiting for a new project to come up, professionals who work 9 to 5, considering career changes, taking a sabbatical, or looking to start their own business, parents planning for their unpaid parental leave, or just people who are between chapters of life. If you're human and life has ever surprised you, you need a transition fund. So what's already out there in the market? Well, there's an emergency fund, but this is a reactive fund. It exists to cover unexpected but urgent disruptions to the life you've designed. And its emergency fund protects the lifestyle freedom you've already built. Then you find high-yield savings accounts, and those are for parking money with an undefined purpose in mind. They have like a general umbrella purpose where you can use the fund for any reason. Then there's retirement savings, and I consider those for later in life, when you feel that you've served your purpose and want to spend the rest of your days having escaped to some beautiful beach in Bali. But none of these are actually built to actively support life changes. The transition fund is different. It's built to fund your next step. And why does this matter for lifestyle freedom? Lifestyle freedom isn't just about quitting your job nor escaping your life. It's about building a life that can handle change without crumbling or falling apart, leaving you spiraling. A transition fund gives you flexibility, protection, choice, and peace. Freedom is being able to choose change, not being forced into it. So, how does the tool that I created, the Transition Fund Calculator, fit into all of this? This tool walks you through your exact costs, calculates based on current and future expenses, adjusts for inflation, offers you to have a buffer, and accommodates the income gaps. This helps you define the time that you need in order to take care of that life-changing moment and gives you a total goal that you can work towards. No fluff, no guessing, just your reality with a calculated goal that gives you clarity. Use the Transition Fund Calculator today. I've left the link in the description down below. It's how I planned for my second baby without financial panic, and how you can plan your next chapter too. It's free with limited access for the first 100 users, and all I ask is for you to please provide me with honest feedback on your experience. This tool and this concept are original to my brand LyfStyled. I'm building it publicly because this kind of fund needs to exist in the world. The best way to prove its value is to use it in real time. I'm here laying the groundwork for partnerships with financial institutions in the future. But it all started here, with a nerd, dressed like a mom, trying to take care of her family without sacrificing her freedom. If you're watching this, you're watching the blueprint being built, and you're part of the movement. So try the Transition Fund Calculator, subscribe to my channel to follow the full Transition Fund journey, and leave a comment down below. Say that I need this if you've ever wanted to pause your life without going broke. But the thing is, everything I just showed you about the Transition Fund is only half the equation. If you don't know exactly how much you need to save for your life transition, you could still end up unprepared. If you use guesswork for your numbers or save blindly, it might not work out and you can end up still stuck. That's why I made the next video where I break down how I calculated my personal fund for the 3 months that I'll be taking off from work. Watch it now and get clarity on your numbers. From a nerd dressed like a mom, I'll see you on the next video where we will keep building freedom one decision at a time.